Okay, so imagine if the knife was laced with poison. Should I pull it out then? How the fuck would you know if it was laced with poison? Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Stephen Ho, aka the motherfucker, and today we are gonna be going over stabbings. Before we get started, peep the new merch. Motherfucker in baby blue. We put out a poll asking which sweater you guys like best. This happened to be your favorite. Mine too. We got some nice little designs here. It's even got pockets. Yay! We're still finalizing some stuff, but hopefully we can get it out, get everybody in one, and you know, looking good. Know what I mean? Got my coffee, if you don't know Phil's, one of my favorite coffee places. Delicious. Let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is rewatch the Stabbings video. Ready?
Tips from the ER. Stabbings. The first thing you're gonna wanna do if you've just been stabbed with a sharp object is to leave it the fuck alone. I don't care where it is. Chest, belly, face, you're gonna fight against every sexual instinct you've ever had and never pull out. If you do, there's a high chance you're gonna quickly bleed out to a slow, silent, painful death. Just don't touch it, because if it hurt like a bitch going in, it's gonna hurt like a bitch coming out. Why would you do that to yourself twice without professional medical supervision? Try to keep it still, call 911, or get your ass to the ER yourself without moving it around too much. It'll be obvious why you shouldn't move it around, because it's gonna hurt like a motherfucker, and you're gonna risk doing more damage to your body. That object is now the official body plug, keeping you alive. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, don't pull out.
I rewatch these again for like the first time and I forget what I say in these videos sometimes. But yeah, one of my top 3 most watched tips from the ER videos. Let's go to answering your top questions. First question, what if someone stabbed me and they pulled out the knife? What do I do? Do I stop the bleeding? Do you put your hand over it and call 911? Or what? Try to put a tampon in it or something? Great question. If someone stabs you and they pull the knife out, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is stop the bleeding. Do whatever you can to pad it up, try to keep all that blood inside your body. Definitely call 911. You're gonna wanna get to the ER as soon as possible so they can stitch it back up. If there's like deeper tissue that's been sliced open, they're gonna have to stitch inside first and then work their way out. If you see someone else with a stab wound and they're unconscious, not breathing, you wanna stop the bleeding first before performing CPR. The one time CPR does not take precedent is if the person has a major fucking bleed. If you can like pack it up and keep it from bleeding too much and it's just trickling a little, do CPR. As far as putting a tampon in it, I highly doubt it's as effective as just putting pressure on the wound. Yeah, don't put a tampon in it. Call 911, or if you can manage it, get yourself to the ER. What if I realize that I made a mistake too late? Should I just put it back? Are you talking about the sharp object? No, do not re-stab yourself if you have already pulled out the object for some reason. You fucking crazy people. If the object is already pulled out, stop the bleeding, pressure, gauze, get whatever you can to pack that thing. Worst case scenario, tourniquet. What about gunshot wounds? What should I do? A gunshot wound, same thing, right? Try to put some pressure, stop the bleeding. With the gunshot wound though, you always wanna look for an exit wound. There's like an entry and an exit, right? If the gunshot enters you, there's likely gonna be an exit wound. So look behind you. It's gonna do you no good to stop the bleeding from the front while the person's bleeding out from the back. You gotta plug both holes. But who the fuck keeps the knife in there after stabbing someone? Lots of people! You better hope they leave it in there. If they pull it out, you are fucked. Think about it, right? If they pull that out, all the blood's gonna come rushing out of you. And if it does,
you're gonna die.
What if she got stabbed by other things? Should I pull it out or not? What other things? Never pull out. Dirty fucks. What if you get stabbed in your hip? That will move around when you walk, right? Correct. It will, and it will hurt like a
bitch.
So hopefully you can call an ambulance to come pick you up in their gurney and take you to the ER. Yeah, you don't want to walk with a stab wound into your hip. Okay, so imagine if the knife was laced with poison. Should I pull it out then? How the fuck would you know if it was laced with poison? Nah, leave it in there. Just get to the ER. If you pull a knife out that's laced with poison, you're likely gonna die first from bleeding out than from the poison circulating in you. I don't deal with a lot of poisonous knives. I don't know a lot of people who do, so good luck. It's nice of you to teach what to do in a situation where you can get professional help, but would you like to talk about what to do in a situation where you can't get professional medical help? If you're in the middle of the forest and you somehow get stabbed, say like in your leg, again, same thing, right? Stop the bleeding. Try to take as much gauze or whatever you have, a shirt, some cloth, wrap it around the wound. Wrap it around the object. Try to keep that object still. If that object moves around, there's a chance of it nicking and cutting a major artery or doing further damage to your tissues. Keep it still, contain the bleeding, do not remove the object, and call for help. If you are stabbed, you need to get to the ER. If it's bad, you need to get to surgery. I have one question. What would happen if it's in your foot and hand? Great. If it's in your foot and hand, I mean, that's even better. The further it is away from your core of your body, the better. Dumb question though. What about hollow objects like a pipe? Does that still stay in? What? I get it, because the pipe has a hole and the blood will just splurt through. I guess in that case, you're gonna want to plug the hole on the pipe to keep the blood from coming out. Because what happens when you pull the object out, you can do further damage to your body. So same rules apply. Never pull out. Hey, I have a question. If you come to the ER but you don't have any insurance or identification, what would happen? Would you go to jail for not being able to pay for the service? No! If we see something wrong medically, we're gonna fix it immediately. They're not gonna take you to jail for not being able to pay. They're gonna send you home and start mailing you and harassing you to pay. They're not gonna take you to jail. At least not right away. America is so fucked. If you don't have insurance, you're likely gonna be paying a shit ton of money. Or owing a shit ton of money. Whether or not you pay it is another story. Still gonna save your life. Alright, those were your top questions. Let's move on to the top comments. I have never seen someone give advice and be entertaining while swearing so much in my life. You're welcome, motherfucker. I try my best. The cheerful demeanor and veiled rage with leave it the fuck alone is hilarious. It's not rage. So in a parallel video on stabbings, if your goal is to kill the guy, always pull your knife out. If you're giving them a professional courtesy, leave the blade in. This is not murder advice.
But correct.
If you really didn't like the person, take the knife out. If you kinda like the person, leave the knife in. Gets paper cut, stabs myself, now I'm not bleeding. Everyone else in the room confused and screaming. What the fuck? Do not stab yourself to stop the bleeding, dumbasses. I just love that this is the shit I have to deal with in his voice. Sometimes you just gotta tell it like it is. Imagine getting stabbed, keeping the knife in, walking to the ER, getting up to the receptionist and just being like, hey, I got a little issue, it's no big deal. That doesn't happen. Getting stabbed is usually a very big deal. People aren't usually walking in, they're being brought in via ambulance. As a stabbing victim, I can definitely confirm this. She stabbed me 5 times and then took the knife with her. She wanted me to die, and she almost succeeded. I lost upwards of 3 pints of blood, was in a coma for 2 months. If you ever get stabbed, do your best to not let them get that knife back. Run with it still in your body if you can. Solid advice from a guy who's gone through it. God, can you imagine running with a knife in you? Ugh. Glad you're still alive, my friend. Has anybody just walked into the ER and be like, oh, hey, so I got stabbed in the back? No. It's typically like, help! Ah! But like I said, they're usually coming in via ambulance. That's our video. Thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Comment below what other things you want to know about the ER. I'm gonna go have some breakfast, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye, motherfuckers!